Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video we're going to be talking about the North American and European data center expansions. We've been waiting for these details for quite some time, and as much as some of us are not looking forward to what's going to happen when this actually takes place, we at least now know when to look forward to it. Before we get started, this month you're probably going to see me a little bit off my game, the month of March that is. As some of you may know, last year, very tough time for me, so probably a little bit less content on the channel. I also just moved, so I'm still just getting situated and trying to figure out what my schedule and what my days are going to look like in the first place anyway. So a bunch of stuff going on with me, but I'll be sure to keep you up to date on all that and get at least the basic contents out, stuff like this and Mondays and State of the Realm and stuff like that. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's talk about this very hot topic in Final Fantasy XIV. So, what they're basically doing is they're taking the current data center structures in North America and Europe and splitting them so that the servers are more spread out. They're basically doing that, at least what we would like to assume, is to counteract some potential issues that we've had in previous expansions, and hopefully we won't have those going into Shadowbringers. A big thing that happened specifically in Stormblood is a lot of people got stuck with the duty instances basically being non-operable. You couldn't do story quests, you couldn't do any sort of duty finder instance. They would just break constantly because of the huge flood of people trying to do them all at once. By splitting up the servers, by splitting up the data centers, I guess they're hoping to combat that on top of other measures that they usually put into place for around that time. So first up, we have the European data center. Now, they're going to be taking the one data center with the 10 servers here, the Chaos data center, and they're going to be splitting it up into two, the Chaos and the Light data center. Now, if you see your server on one of these lists and you know a friend on the other list, keep in mind that once these data centers are split, you will not be able to play with people who are not on the same data center as you. So coordinate server transfers, coordinate making new characters, whatever it is you have to do if you want to play with the same group of friends, but just keep this in mind, and that's going to go for North America as well. Now, the European data center split is going to take place on Tuesday, April 2nd, and there will be a free transfer period for 2 weeks after that, where people on any of the European servers can choose to server transfer to another one for free. So you can make those adjustments we were talking about earlier. Now, North America is going to be seeing something very similar, except that we currently have two data centers, and those two data centers are going to be split into three. Ether and Primal are now going to be Ether, Primal, and Crystal, with some of these servers just being redistributed to Crystal in order to fill it so it actually has some people in it. Now, Europe actually forgot to mention they are going to be getting two new servers, but it's not going to be at this timing. We don't know the exact timing of those other two servers that are going to be added, one per data center, but I'd like to assume, I'm sure if I looked back, they probably said it was going to be like around Shadowbringers launch or at Shadowbringers launch. It just hasn't been mentioned yet, so a lot of people were wondering why it wasn't here, and I'm going to assume that's why. Now, going back to North America, the North American data center split with the addition of Crystal is going to take place on Tuesday, April 23rd, 2019, and that also is going to have that 2-week free transfer period, which they've given us some details on below. As we go down here, they just want you to know a few basic things. For one, any of the players that are actually using these free transfers will be able to carry up to just under 1 billion gil to their new world. So if you have more than that, first of all, holy crap. Just holy crap. Second of all, if you are someone who owns an estate, you will be getting the full cost of the land returned to you and an additional amount of gil to compensate for any furnishings that you will not be able to take with you. For apartments, you'll be getting the 500,000 back plus an additional 500,000 gil to compensate for lost furnishings. Now, there are some other questions regarding this. First of all, the EU availability. So it says that from April 2nd to April 15th, if you're any character on the EU data centers, you can choose to use your free transfer. For me, the only thing I guess the concern is some people I know on Europe do actually play on North America, and some people who play on Europe may choose to want to play on North America, especially people in Western Europe who may use VPNs to play with thus us over on the North American. I told you I'd be off my game this month. Us over on the North American server. So I wonder if you can be a player on the European data center and go to North America. And I wonder if that still allows you to be eligible. They don't say. I'd have to assume you would be because you're just making your free transfer choice. And the same goes for North America. Again, I know people who play on Europeans who play on North American servers who may again want to do their free transfers over to the other data center. So they would probably have to wait for the North American one right here. So all sorts of questions, but basically any character, doesn't matter if you're one of the people being moved, doesn't matter if you're staying on your same data center right now, as long as you are on the appropriate region's data center during the times listed here, you will be eligible for that free transfer. Now keep in mind, if a world is congested you will not be able to do a transfer to it. So if you're trying to go to one of those hyper high pop servers with your free transfer, that won't work. Now, also transferring to a preferred world will confer the usual transfer bonuses in addition to those listed above. Now, I don't have those handy to me right now because it's just not information that I keep relevant to me. But if you do a quick search for preferred world transfer bonuses, it'll also be getting those as well. And players transferring to standard worlds will not be able to transfer again until 3 days have passed. Now, I remember them mentioning this at the last FanFest that you could transfer every 3 days. So because it's a 2-week free period, I'd like to assume that you would actually be able to do your transfer multiple times if you wanted to go between standard worlds. But it is worth mentioning that if you transfer to a preferred world, you will be unable to transfer again for 90 days. So if you are transferring worlds, make sure you're well aware of what world you're transferring to, because if you transfer to a preferred world that you think you're going to like and you don't like it, you're pretty much stuck there until after Shadowbringers actually launches. So just letting you know to keep that in mind. Another reminder, and I'm pretty sure that you at preferred worlds don't give you road to 60 unless it's a new character, so don't do it for that reason. Make sure you think about this very, very carefully. I've seen people with some other questions regarding this, but this is all we know, so this is all we can really work off of until April comes around. Hopefully this goes smooth. I have a feeling there's going to be some growing pains. North America is going to have the growing pains of worrying about which raid scene is going to be stronger. I've heard some people in Europe whisper about which data center is already looking like the more preferred one. My personal opinion is yes, there are absolutely going to be tons of Reddit page posts, tons of problems, tons of people have an issue with the way this is being done. What will eventually happen is it will probably level out at some point down the line. This is one of those things that if it had happened earlier in Final Fantasy XIV's lifetime, we wouldn't be talking about it anymore right now. This, I feel, will eventually get to that point where enough people will populate all the data centers, all the servers, to the point where you don't really need to transfer to one just to do raids or anything like that. So hopefully, after we get past the initial growing pains and we give it a bit of time for people to level out and figure out where their various groups are and where the different players are, that every place will be fine to play and you won't have to all lean towards one. People have been saying Aether is the raid one for ages, but yet Aether and Primal are both doing very well, especially with the rise of the Leviathan server, which I feel goes kind of underappreciated as a very serious raid server on Primal. So there's a lot of things that could happen here, and I suspect I'm going to have to hear a lot about it. So feel free to talk about your concerns, talk about what your plans are in the comment section of the video below. And again, if you're looking to link this to a friend or have it for reference, I'll be sure to include a link for it in the description of the video as well. Anyway, I got some stuff I gotta go get done. You know, still got stuff to unpack and everything for the new place. So thank you for watching. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. And stay tuned. We'll at least be having some content over the month of March when I can actually get my motivation high enough in order to actually do it. And of course, Japanese Fan Fest, which is going to be taking place on March 22nd, 2019. So anyway, I will see all of you fine ladies and gentlemen in the next video. And until then, take care.